All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael Slider, Executive Director of Kentucky Citizens for Democracy, coming at you to give you a special invitation for this coming Thursday on July 17th. We will be in Shelby County, in Shelbyville, in Shelby County, Kentucky, for the Good Trouble Lives On rally that will start at 5 o'clock and will go till 6:30. Right? We will be starting on 6th Street. Our table will be set up there. They will have some speakers who will talk about the memory of John Lewis. It's the 5-year anniversary of his death, right? It was the reason behind this rally, right? And we will move out to Main Street where we will have our posters and signs and things like that. And we would love for you to join us. If you've never been to any type of protest rally before, this one is about as safe as they come. I will be in charge of the yellow vest security. We will be out there to make sure that the store owners do not have their shops blocked, to make sure that nobody gets belligerent. We don't want any of that. We want this to be a peaceful protest. All right. Now, for those of you who sometimes ask me, why are you libs, all right, always protesting these days? Why is it that you weren't protesting when Biden was president, when there were corrupt stuff going on, or when Obama was president and all that? Why are you protesting now? Well, I wanted to answer that for you. Why protest now? Well, I have 3 reasons. So I'm sitting behind this drum set that my son bought off one of his friends for real cheap, but we love it. But anyway, I'm using this as a prop. I've got my notes taped up here. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why we're protesting now when maybe we didn't protest under the other administrations, because I get it. The system's corrupt, right? We allow our elections to be bought with corporate money and dark money and all that, and that's on the Democratic and Republican side. So I get it. The system's corrupt, but why now? Well, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I think in particular we need to be protesting this president and this time period that we're in. Number 1, let's talk about ICE. All right? Yes, ICE existed under former presidents, and yes, people talk about when Obama was deporting people when he was in power. However, we have never seen anything like this. Kristi Noem, the head of Homeland Security, has set a quota of, she wants ICE arresting 3,000 people a day. Now, when you have a quota of 3,000 people a day, you are turning ICE into a modern day, some kind of modern day fascist Gestapo. When you're trying to arrest 3,000 people a day, there is no way you're only going to be arresting criminals and MS-13 and people like that, like we were told during the election. You are going to be scooping up people who have no criminal record, no criminal convictions, who have not been charged with anything. You're simply scooping them up and breaking up families because they are undocumented. So the latest ICE data that I got, and it comes right off of their website, is that 71% of those who are being held and detained right now do not have any criminal convictions, and 36% have no charges pending against them. The only reason they're sitting in places like Alligator, Alcatraz, or wherever they may be is simply because they are undocumented and they've been put in there with no due process. And this is not the America that we know and love. That has to be protested. When the lawmakers become the lawbreakers, the only tool left to us is civil disobedience, and that's what we're doing. Number 2, this is the first president in history where the Supreme Court ruled. Well, first of all, let's just mention that he's got the Supreme Court basically in his back pocket, at least 6 of the 9 judges, which gives him the majority, and they have been ruling for him over and over again. And when you have the highest court in the land who is behind you every step of the way, then you have totally obliterated our system of checks and balances. And that same Supreme Court gave Donald Trump immunity from criminal prosecution for official acts while he is president. You all, that's a recipe for tyranny. When you've lost our system of checks and balances and the Supreme Court is saying you can't be criminally convicted for anything you do in your official capacity in office, I mean, think about the lessons in history. That is an extremely dangerous recipe for on the path to some kind of tyranny, dictatorship, whatever you want to call it. All right? And then finally, come on now. He is the only president in history who tried to overthrow a legal election. That should have been the end of him right there. He should have never even been allowed to run for president another time. But you know, you want to know a big difference, even if you think other Democratic presidents were corrupt and all that, what's the difference? He's the only one who tried to overthrow a legal election, right? First, he tried to do it through the courts. When they said you don't have a case, conservative judges and liberal judges, he tried to do a fake set of electors for each state. When that scheme didn't work, then finally we end up on January 6th, where we try to stop the count of the electoral votes, right? And yes, that was an intentional strategy. We've had the conversations that have come out from behind the scenes when all that was going on, all right? And that should have been the end of them, but come on now. No other president has tried to do that. Now, if you're still one of these deep, dark conspiracy theorists who's going to try to tell me the election was actually stolen, then let's just throw this one little tidbit out there. How come it is that when the voting machine companies sued Fox News and Newsmax, they both had to come out and admit and settle that it was not truthful what they were saying, that they were lying about the 2020 election being stolen, right? If you're so convinced that was true, why did they have to admit that they were lying? All right, so come on, let's stop with all that stuff. All right, so those are at least three differences between what's going on now and what has happened in the past. That's why we protest. We hope to see you out in Shelbyville, or if you go to Lexington or Louisville, wherever you go, we hope to see you out there. Bring your poster, bring your sign, and come and join us.